He believed loyalty was forever, until one quiet moment shattered everything he thought he knew. The people he trusted most didn't just walk away. They pushed him off the edge and watched him fall. Daniel never thought trust could feel warm. Growing up, it was something you offered carefully, like a fragile glass you didn't want to drop. But somewhere along the way, trust became his foundation. It was how he built friendships, how he loved, how he believed the world worked. On a cold Tuesday morning, Daniel sat in his small apartment, staring at the cracked ceiling above his bed. The heater rattled like it was fighting to stay alive. His phone buzzed on the nightstand. He didn't look at it right away. He already knew who it was. Marcus. Daniel finally reached over and unlocked the screen. "We need to talk. Today." Daniel exhaled slowly. "Of course," he whispered to no one. Marcus always said that. "We need to talk." As if conversations didn't already feel like landmines lately. Daniel showered, dressed, and stood in front of the mirror longer than usual. He looked tired. Not just physically, something deeper. The kind of tired that sleep doesn't fix. 3 years earlier, Marcus had been the first person Daniel trusted when he moved to the city. They met at work, bonded over late nights, cheap coffee, and shared dreams of building something meaningful. Marcus introduced him to Lena, who became like a sister to both of them. Together they felt unbreakable. At least Daniel did. The cafe smelled like burnt espresso and sugar. Marcus sat near the window, scrolling on his phone. He didn't stand up when Daniel arrived. "Hey," Daniel said softly. Marcus looked up, forced a smile. "You're late." Daniel checked his watch. "I'm not." Marcus shrugged. "Feels like it." Something tightened in Daniel's chest. He sat down anyway. They talked about nothing at first: work, weather, traffic. Words floated between them without meaning. Finally, Marcus leaned back and crossed his arms. "So," Marcus said, "about the project?" Daniel nodded. "Yeah. I wanted to ask. You've been distant. Did I do something?" Marcus laughed, but it wasn't warm. "You always do that." "Do what?" "Make everything about feelings." Daniel felt his face heat up. "I'm just trying to understand." Marcus leaned forward. "Look, man, people are saying things." "What people? Does it matter?" "Yes," Daniel said, his voice barely holding. "It does." Marcus sighed dramatically. "They think you're not reliable. That you're holding us back." The words hit harder than Daniel expected. "Us." Marcus didn't answer right away. That silence said enough. Daniel walked home instead of taking the bus. He needed air. He needed space to think. His mind replayed moments he once believed were solid. Late-night brainstorming, promises whispered over pizza boxes, laughter that felt real. That night Lena called. "Daniel," she said carefully, "are you okay?" "I don't know," he replied honestly. There was a pause. "Marcus told me you might be upset." "Did he?" Daniel swallowed. "What did he say?" Another pause. Longer this time. "He said you've been difficult." Daniel closed his eyes. "Difficult how?" "That you don't trust decisions. That you question everything." Daniel almost laughed. "I trusted him with everything." Lena's voice softened. "Sometimes people hear trust as control." After the call ended, Daniel sat on the floor with his back against the couch. The apartment felt smaller, quieter. Trust, he realized, didn't shatter loudly. It cracked in silence. Days passed. Then weeks. Meetings happened without him. Decisions were made behind closed doors. Emails went unanswered. Marcus stopped replying altogether. Lena became distant too. Not cruel, just gone. Daniel tried to confront them once more. He stood outside the office late one evening, watching lights flicker off one by one. Marcus finally stepped out. "Can we talk?" Daniel asked. Marcus stopped walking. "There's nothing left to say." "What did I do?" Daniel's voice broke. Marcus looked at him, really looked at him, for the first time in months. "You trusted us too much." Daniel blinked. That's a crime now. It's a weakness, Marcus said flatly. Daniel stood there long after Marcus walked away. That night, Daniel packed a box of things he once kept on his desk. Photos, notes, ideas scribbled on napkins. He didn't cry. Not yet. He felt empty, like something essential had been quietly stolen. Trust hadn't just failed him. It had isolated him. As he lay in bed, staring again at the cracked ceiling, Daniel wondered when believing in people became something dangerous, and whether he would ever do it again. Daniel's savings disappeared faster than he expected. The project he helped build, his ideas, his long nights, continued without him. Marcus's name appeared in articles. Lena posted smiling photos online. Daniel stopped looking. Every rejection email felt personal. Every unanswered call felt like proof that maybe Marcus was right. Maybe trust was weakness. One evening, Daniel sat across from his father, Richard, in a quiet diner. Richard stirred his coffee slowly. "You look thinner," Richard said. Daniel shrugged. "Stress diet." Richard studied him. "You want to tell me what's really going on?" Daniel hesitated. He hadn't told anyone the full story. Saying it out loud made it real. "I trusted the wrong people," Daniel said finally. Richard nodded like he already knew. "That happens. They took everything," Daniel continued. "My work, my place, my confidence." Richard leaned back. "Did they take your integrity?" Daniel frowned. "What?" "Your integrity," Richard repeated. "Did they take who you are?" Daniel didn't answer. Later that night, Daniel walked through the city aimlessly. Neon lights reflected on wet pavement. Strangers laughed, argued, lived their lives, unaware of his quiet collapse. At a small bookstore, Daniel wandered inside to escape the cold. An older woman behind the counter smiled. "Looking for anything in particular?" she asked. Daniel shook his head. "Just something honest." She nodded and handed him a thin notebook. "Then start with yourself." Daniel bought it without knowing why. At home he stared at the blank pages. His hands trembled slightly as he began to write. Not plans, not dreams, just truth. "I trusted them because I believed people meant what they said." The words felt heavy and freeing. Weeks later, Lena reached out. "Can we talk?" Daniel almost ignored it. But something inside him wanted closure. They met at a park bench under bare trees. Lena looked different. Tired. "I didn't know how to stop it," she said quietly. "You didn't try," Daniel replied. Tears filled her eyes. "I was scared." Daniel nodded. "So was I." They sat in silence. "I'm sorry," Lena whispered. Daniel believed her. But belief didn't mean rebuilding. "I forgive you," he said. "But I can't trust you again." Lena nodded, accepting the truth. Daniel walked away lighter than he arrived. Trust, he realized, wasn't about giving everything to everyone. It was about choosing carefully without losing yourself. And for the first time in months, Daniel felt something close to peace. A year later, Daniel stood in a different office. Smaller, quieter. His name was on the door. He still trusted, but now with boundaries. He listened to his instincts. He asked questions. He learned that trust wasn't blind faith. It was earned, shared, protected. Marcus faded into memory. Lena became a lesson. And Daniel became stronger. Not because he stopped believing in people, but because he learned how to believe wisely. Sometimes the wrong people don't destroy us. They teach us who we are when everything falls apart.